Hello, my name is Mark Copsey. I'm a director and founder of Red Kite Innovations.
And I'm David Andrews, a fellow director of Red Kite Innovations as well. And we're here today to talk a bit about Red Kite and the Game Changer program.
Game Changer was a program we set up 2 years ago to really try and transform the way that business education was run, so very much more practically and focused on the needs of business.
And the world has enough followers. We want people to actually change the way they do things and actually be really proactive and make a difference. And our passion is really about transferring knowledge and embedding that in business.
When we look at how we learn, what we find is that if we go back to talk and chalk as we went to in school, only 5% of our learning goes in from listening. The majority goes in from peer review and assessment. And so what we've tried to do is to construct a program which combines both audio-visual, listening, discussion groups, practice, and peer group review as the most effective way of embedding that knowledge into you as a person, so that you actually use that knowledge day to day in your business.
Because we know from experience that so many people go on a training course or have some learning, and then they actually go back to the workplace and it just sits on the shelf. We want to make sure that the skills and the tools they learn are embedded in the business so that business can grow. Because actually we need businesses to grow, to make profit, to allow us to continue to grow as an economy.
And the key thing there is that if you apply the knowledge straight away, you'll use it continually. And what we found is that the most effective way of doing that is by doing simulation in the workshops and actually working on your business. So we make sure that you have visuals and articles that you can look at before the sessions, so you get the basic underpinning, and what you then do in the sessions themselves is utilize tools that we will introduce and apply them to your business in the classroom.
The other aspect is actually trying to avoid making mistakes. We know that the fastest way for SMEs, small medium-sized enterprises, to grow is actually to avoid making mistakes. And these tools and processes that we're going to introduce through the Game Changer program helps businesses avoid those mistakes and actually go faster.
And the key thing is that number one mistake from international research says that 36% of businesses go bankrupt because they're making something that nobody wants.
And the next biggest issue is about the people factor, actually hiring the wrong people. You actually need to know what the purpose of your company is and the values of that business, the core values, and making sure the staff are living and breathing those values.
And the third most important factor in mistakes is actually have a lack of focus, failing to really focus on what the business is actually about.
And then some of the other aspects in terms of other factors, things like sales and marketing and systems and processes. So we will go through a lot of these different aspects and help businesses have the tools to make sure that they avoid those mistakes and allow them to grow.
Now, the first thing we always look at within any program we offer is what we call start with why. What is the purpose of the business? And this is probably one of the hardest questions that most businesses find they have to answer, because so rarely do they think about why are we in this business, what are we actually doing? And it's one of the most important learnings we have, and people that reflect on the courses afterwards say, that was probably the most important question you asked me. And the evidence suggests that from work done by Harvard University is that this is the hardest question for any business to answer.
And it's actually, what's your cause? What is your belief? Why you're in business? Why did you start that business? And normally behind that, everyone has a cause or a belief. And it's actually understanding that cause and that belief which allows you to, once you have that knowledge of saying that's why I'm in business, that's my ethics, those are my values, then a lot of things will flow from that and the company can go forward.
The important thing is that we've got a really useful technique called the Golden Circle. So what the Golden Circle is developed by a guy called Simon Sinek, and from his book Start With Why. And what it does is it has 3 circles which looks at why, how and what. And the most important thing is that most companies will tell you what they do very readily. But that's almost a conversation closer. If you start off with why the business exists, it actually opens up a whole conversation about, as a follow-up question as to how you do this and what do you do. But if you start out with what you do, the difficulty is that it then often comes down to how much. And you start to close the conversation and drive it by price rather than the values that we've talked about.
And you use an example like Apple. Their why is they believe in designing and challenging the status quo and designing things differently. And once they believe in that, then the products flow from that. And every business will have a why, and actually then they'll follow on how they do it. And then, as Mark said, the process, the result is the what.
And so what we have is a tool that you can use to just try and think about why we exist to start with, how we do it, and what we do. That allows you to make sure you're not product focused, but actually delivery focused about what is the customer going to achieve or how they're going to benefit from interacting with my product or service.
And once you have that, it feeds through the company. Those values will always be there. And a lot of times businesses lose sight of what their values are. Why they're in business, what's that why? And once they understand that why, it allows it to flow through. So when you come to recruit, you're recruiting people who share those beliefs in that why.
And that obviously then feeds through to your customers in terms of your customers believing in you as a company as much as belief in you as products and services they benefit from you.
And once you have that why, it allows a lot of the other aspects of running a business to follow suit. So it helps define what success looks like. It allows you to create criteria for decision making, for investments. It helps you align resources to tie into that purpose. And so it keeps you on track and keeps you focused. And it also helps motivate staff to actually align themselves to that and clarify their focus. And of course, often that allows expanded opportunities to come from that as well. And that process all links back to that why of the business.
And that's why we always start from understand your why, and then you can understand where your business is going and how it's going to get there.